All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Friday. Happy Friday to everyone out there. It's also Halloween, so happy Halloween to everyone out there as well. We got an 8-game NBA slate to dive into in today's video, like we always do. I'm going to dive into each and every one of these games. We'll break them down. I'll give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, make sure to keep an eye down on the pinned comment of this video. That's where you'll find all of my final plays so that I'm actually rolling with myself. If that does interest you, it's absolutely free down in the pinned comment. All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. I tell you guys I'm a dummy all the time. They don't suck. They've just been sucking. Get them down to -3, 4 more juice than Jose Canseco in his prime. Tell me you're new without telling me you're new. So don't go jumping down my throat in the comments, right? If you want to fade me, or if you do want to ride me, this still leaves a bad taste in my mouth, right? And remember, more chins, more wins. In terms of how we did last night, 3 winning NBA days in a row, dropped to cha-ching. The only loss we had yesterday was our by far and away smallest unit play on the day, which was Pele Larson over 1.5 3-pointers made. He made one early, and then as the Heat mounted that comeback, he really didn't get that many minutes. So yeah, that was a bad look, but I'll take the Miles Turner. We really hyper-focused on him for both his points and his threes. That came through. Thunder, and then the Heat alternate line parlay comes through as well. So you know what? One more damn cha-ching, and the good vibes do not stop there, ladies and gentlemen. The ride of the day, pumping some crowd noise for Dylan. Also jumping on board with Miles Turner for the ride of the day. Miles Turner, what did he finish with? 7 rebounds? Do I have that correct? Miles Turner yesterday, 7 rebounds in 29 minutes in that win over the Warriors. The ride of the day cashes. If you guys don't know what the ride of the day is, it's simple. Just use that hashtag ride of the day down in the comments. I jump on board with one person's play each and every day and give you a shout out in the next video, win or loss. If you win, we continue to roll in ride of your plays for the coming days and you go on a little bit of a streak, right? If you lose, you still get the shout out, but unfortunately we're talking about a loss there. No one wants to talk about that, right? We have the ride of the day tracker up and running. You can find that in the pinned comment with the final plays over on GuyBostonSports.com as well. And you can see here, Dylan off to a 1-0 start. So we'll make sure to keep an eye on what Dylan rocks with today. But everyone else, also get those hashtag ride of the days down in the comments. One last shout out to Dylan. Looks like he liked Miles Turner, as did I last night, and Turner delivered. But let's go ahead and dive into game number 1, guys. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hype this video as well. Really do appreciate all the support to start the NBA season. Let me know your favorite plays down in the comments. You can use hashtag ride of the day. You can talk about your favorite angles, whatever it is. I'm down to ride and look at some of the community plays down there as well. But let's jump into game number 1 here. Got the Pacers taking on the Hawks. So the biggest thing to note here, I think the biggest thing to note in this one is Trae Young sprained his knee, I believe, which it looked really, really ugly. I feel like a sprained knee, if you guys watched that, it was Capella or someone fell right into his knee and it bent the wrong way. The fact that it was just sprained is probably a good thing, but he's going to miss this game. Now, this Indiana injury report is longer than the dictionary, so that's obviously tough. You know, Halliburton's out. We know that, right? Nembhard, Obi Toppin, TJ McConnell, Benedict Mathurin, like a ton of guys that are just not in this game either. So it's kind of like the injury bowl, because Atlanta, I do think, is going to rely on Trae Young heavily, which shouldn't be breaking news to anyone. So where do we go in this one? I don't mind the idea of a little Pacers love here. I think without Trae Young, you know, this is a good spot to back the Pacers. They've actually been decent enough at preventing points in, like, at the rim. So that kind of mitigates what I would think maybe someone like Jalen Johnson, who's going to take a bulk of that workload, you know, scoring there. I don't mind, you know, the Pacers kind of slowing him down a little bit. In transition, he'll probably still be fine. But the point being is that I do think that this Pacers squad may have a little continuity that this Hawks team doesn't. They've been playing without Halliburton. The Hawks now have to play without Trae Young for the first full game this year, and at one point, this Pacers team will win, right? They're 0-4 on the season. The Hawks are 2-3. Now the Pacers are at home. I don't mind this spot here. They've played like some tough defenses as well, right? OKC, tough defense. Memphis, you know they're going to grind. Minnesota, tough defense. Dallas, I guess maybe tough. Like, this Atlanta team, at least in my opinion, is by far and away the worst defense they've played. So let's see what they can do. I like the Pacers in this spot. I don't mind Pascal Siakam. Now his line's up at 26.5, rightfully so. He's hit this in 3 of the 4 games so far to start the season. If we look a year ago against this Atlanta squad, it was 20, 35, and 23. But obviously you got to consider, that Halliburton was playing in most of those games. So in the games that he played without Halliburton, he had that 35-point game. So I do think that this is a decent enough spot for him. I just don't know if I agree with the line being that high at 26.5. Maybe this is the same game parlay potential game because we do have a ton of points expected in this one. 232.5, 2 bad defenses. Maybe we could get behind some sort of a same game parlay here. Obviously, both teams are going to try to prefer to run in transition, in this Hawks team allowing nearly 70% of their opponents in transition this year. Big yikes, guys. I'm going to lean towards the Pacers, the over, and then, like I said, Siakam could make its way onto a final play today. All right, Sixers taking on my Boston Celtics here. Celtics get that win in their last game against the Cavs, which was pretty damn impressive. You know what I mean? They went off from 3. Sam Hauser in the first quarter. But they already played this Sixers team, right? They played this Sixers team opening night, and they were winning. And the Sixers end up pulling out a comeback 117-116 win. So that left a bad taste in my mouth, obviously. But where do we come out on this one? Because I do think that this Sixers team is obviously very good, right? Maxey is phenomenal. The fact that Joel Embiid might arguably be your 3rd scorer in terms of ranking-wise with Edgecombe and that type of thing, like, that is pretty damn impressive. But I do like the way the Celtics are starting to play. They're not just chucking threes. I mean, I should say that they are still leading the league this early in the year in terms of frequency from above the break, but that's almost to be expected, right? But they are starting to consider those mid-range shots and a little bit more of those extended in the paint shots, which I do think should be pretty damn successful against this Philadelphia team. And we already saw it once this year, right? Like, it did work. The Celtics defense just absolutely stunk. The rebounding stunk at the end of the game. And it's a big but. Now you have the Sixers at home. You still have the best player in this series, I think, in this game, Tyrese Maxey. Celtics fans, don't come after me for Jaylen Brown. I'm a Celtics fan too, but Tyrese Maxey is that guy. I think that this is probably a spot in which I'm looking to back the Sixers, at least from a lean perspective. I don't think it's enough to get me to actually roll with this. First and foremost, betting against my own Boston Celtics on Halloween night. Could you name something spookier? Secondarily, I do think this is a razor-thin margin. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if the Celtics get their get-back and win by 10 points either. You know what I mean? So this is a very, very slim one. Where I could see the Celtics team, actually stepping up to the plate is potentially playing some defense. We've started to see that now in the last couple games. 105 allowed to the Cavs is a feat, right? New Orleans without Zion, sure, 90 points, but this is a Sixers team that their defense is really, really bad. So if the Celtics play a lick of defense, they stay in this game and cause the Sixers to be like, what do we do now? We can't just outscore the other guys because we're having a tough time scoring, right? Look at the Sixers so far in their last 3 games. Now, this is Charlotte, Orlando, and Washington. At least 2 of those defenses aren't all that great. 125, 136, and 139. I don't think Philadelphia walks in here and drops 139 on the Celtics' head, especially if the Celtics do have any hard feelings about that last game, right? So I like the idea of a Sixers team total under. Right now you can go under, I believe it's like 120. Yeah, you can go under 120.5, get decent enough odds. I think there's a little bit of a setback here for the Philadelphia offense. In terms of player props, I do like the idea of Jaylen Brown. His number is going to be sky high, but I did mention how I think the Celtics do score in this one, right? And that would be the short mid-range, the extended paint shots, the short mid-range. That's Jaylen Brown's MO, right? And so far this year, he's only hit this line in 2 of the 5 games, but he did it in 2 of the last 3. And he's definitely going to be taking enough shots as long as he plays the minutes, right? He's shooting the ball 20 times if he plays 30, 35 plus minutes. All right, guys, real quick, I want to talk to you about Chalkboard. They have a Zion square tonight, 0.5 points, rebounds, and assists. That means if he gets 1 point, this square cashes. If he gets 1 rebound, this square cashes. If he gets 1 assist, you guessed it, this square cashes. Go ahead and take advantage. They're also going to match your first deposit. Absolute no-brainer, guys. That link will be down below in the description as well as the pinned comment. You've seen me talking about Chalkboard plenty lately, and rightfully so. They're an absolutely awesome app because of the unique things that they do. First and foremost, their multipliers are awesome, right? And they run a ton of discounts. If you follow them on Twitter/X, you've seen that. A ton of discounts outside of the new user signups, right? But what I like is the fact that you can make game picks over there. You can pick money line. You can pick spread. You can pick totals going over or under. That's pretty damn unique for these DFS player prop apps because Usually they're focused on player props, right? And you know what's also cool? You don't always need to put 2 or more entries into an entry. No, you can actually just go with a 1 play pick over on Chalkboard as well. So go check it out, guys. Link down below in the description as well as the pinned comment. Get that Zion Square, get that deposit match, and get on your way to having some damn fun on that app. Let's jump back into these games. Cleveland taking on Toronto. Now, this is one that we really do need to monitor the injury report. Jared Allen listed as questionable. Donovan Mitchell listed as questionable. So obviously we're going to keep an eye on that. One thing I will say, Jakob Poeltl still out. So if Allen and Mitchell play, man, oh man, I think this could be a good spot for them to score down low and the Cavs as a whole. And where would we go from a player prop perspective? Oh, yeah, I would look no further than Evan Mobley now. His line, do you remember, guys, at the beginning of the year? I think it was game 1 or 2. We got him at, 15.5 points? 16.5. His line's up to 21. So, I mean, obviously that's pretty damn high, but I do like, if those two guys play, the idea of Evan Mobley having a good night and the Cavs. So that could be some sort of a same game parlay potential where you don't have to worry about the, 6.5 points. You could just take Cavs money line, maybe Mobley 15, 17.5, something like that, right? An alternate line. If those guys don't play, I really don't mind Mobley if you can get him at the 20.5 or 19.5. Like, this is a Toronto team that we should see some lack thereof of defense down low, right? We saw that last time out in their last game, which was against, who did we take that? It was who did they actually play when we took that? I'm drawing a blank. Houston, right? And we like the idea of the mid-range and kind of close to the basket, and we saw that. Jabari Smith had a really good game. Kevin Durant hit the over for us. So I do think that there is some potential here for Evan Mobley to have a very good game, regardless of if guys are in or out, but I definitely like him a lot more, as just a standalone if Donovan Mitchell doesn't go, if Jared Allen doesn't go. So we'll keep an eye on the injury report, but I think that there is some damage that we can do in this one. From a total perspective, I get why this is so high, right? But I think that this Cavs defense is a lot better than it's looked so far. I'm going to lean towards the under 239.5 or Toronto team total under, but that is definitely going to depend on, I would say more so if we have Jared Allen. I like the under even without Donovan Mitchell because that's a guy that can go for 50 on you, right? Like that would hurt an under, So if Jared Allen plays, I think I'm liking the idea of an under in this spot. All right, Bulls taking on the Knicks. This is a tough one, I'll say that. This Bulls team obviously looking very, very good here to start the year. They're 4-0. The Knicks are 2-2. I still keep the same sort of stance that this Knicks team I do like, under the new coaching regime and the way that they're playing. They lost against Miami. I think we're learning that Miami is a good enough team, right? And Milwaukee, who just beat the Warriors, who I think are a good team. So, yeah, I do think that, they've played a tough schedule so far. This Knicks team opened up the year with Cleveland, Boston, Miami, and Milwaukee, whereas Chicago got the dealings of Detroit, Orlando, Atlanta, Sacramento. A little bit different, right? I think the Chicago team can honestly stay in this game and play this game and potentially win this game. I will say that. But I think it's a Knicks spot. Everyone in the world seems like they're liking the idea of the Bulls just because, again, they're undefeated and they look good, and especially at home. But to me, this is a spot in which the Knicks take care of business as the more talented team. Like, what this Bulls team has done with, Trey Jones, Josh Giddey, Buzelis, Vucevic, Herter has looked okay. Like, they've played a little bit above, I would say, expectations, right? And now you're potentially getting Mitchell Robinson back on the side of the Knicks. I think that's going to be absolutely massive to stop a Chicago team that's liking to score in the paint. They're actually, in terms of the restricted area, the 7th highest frequency team, and that's pretty much the only place that they're like truly, truly hammering it home. Everywhere else is kind of an even spread as to where they're scoring. I think that's a big deal if you get Mitchell Robinson to play in this one, and he's obviously, down there in the paint. So give me the Knicks minus the 4.5. I can understand the Bulls' love, though. I can understand why someone would like the Bulls. The Knicks like to run the isolation. The Bulls are phenomenal at defending that. But again, let's take into account who they've played so far. The pick and roll, they're really good at defending that. The catch and shoot, they're good at defending that. The pull-up, they're good at defending that. Like, these sort of nuanced things that the Knicks like to do, the Bulls actually look pretty damn good at defending. So I get it. But to me, yeah, it's not exactly the best of spot for them. I will say this, in favor of, Chicago as well. The Knicks are the 4th highest frequency team through their, 4 games of shooting the corner 3, and the Bulls may be one of the best defenses against corner 3. 19% from the right corner and 20% field goal percentage from the left corner. So guys like Mikal Bridges or obviously OG Anunoby, guys that hang out over there, may not have the best of, dealings today. I like the Knicks, and I'll also say the under in this spot. I think the Knicks slow this tempo down a lot. All right, Memphis taking on the Lakers. Now we have Luka questionable in this one. So Luka may be coming back, which is obviously pretty damn massive for this Lakers squad. I don't think that I need to tell you guys that. Right now, this Lakers team sitting at 3-2, as are the Memphis Grizzlies. Grizzlies coming off of a close and tight win. They didn't even cover. They were 2-point favorites. They won by 1 a couple days ago to the Phoenix team, and then the Lakers beat Minnesota 116-115. Now, that was a Minnesota team without Anthony Edwards and, obviously no Luka as well, so the stars in that game were out, kind of like rolling the dice. But in this spot, if Luka plays, I don't mind the idea of the Lakers. I think that Luka can do really well in the pick and roll here. And this is a Memphis team so far to start the year that is 7th worst in terms of catch and shoot defense from a jump shooting perspective. I think this Lakers squad with Luka coming off of a screen, he can either choose to score or kick it out to guys of the likes of, Rui Hachimura or even Austin Reeves. I think that we could see some 3-pointers rain home here for this Lakers squad. So I like the idea of the Lakers, and I will say Rui Hachimura over 1.5 threes, something that I'm definitely considering. He's getting the start at the position of the power forward. Memphis this year they're ranked 26th. So what is that? 6th worth? Let's see, 30, 29, 28, 27. The 5th worst in terms of, allowing threes to that overall. And then the same thing, 5th worst to power forward specifically. So I do like the idea of Rui, but Luka's coming back. We have to make sure and do some more due diligence throughout the day to see how many minutes they're saying he might play and that type of thing, because the last thing I'd want is to roll with the Lakers or any Lakers schematic play like Rui and then find out that Luka's capped at like 20 minutes or something like that. I think that'd be obviously a pretty damn big deal. And if you look at some of his lines, like his assists at 8.5, his points at 31.5, that tells me he's going to play. But again, we kind of want to do our due diligence. So give me the Lakers as well as some spot-up shooters there like Rui or even Austin Reeves, like I mentioned. From a total perspective, this thing is pretty damn high. I think that this one can get up there, but seems like a pretty high number for two what I would consider somewhat inefficient offenses. And if the Lakers are in control of this one, I think that they'll certainly slow it down. So I'm going to go down below that 237.5. Real quick, guys, I wanted to take a break to talk to you about our NBA dashboard. This is the last day to get it for free, so make sure to check it out. It's over on GuyBostonSports.com. You can head in right here. Again, that is GuyBostonSports.com. Head to the members area, NBA dashboard. This is what you're getting, and it is really, really cool. The newest thing we've added is the injury report, which is absolutely awesome. But also what we're taking a peek at is, team matchups. So you can see points per game, opponents' points per game, offensive, defensive efficiency, assist to turnover ratio, rebound rate, all that jazz, right? We also have the projected starting lineups along with their shot zone breakout in terms of in the paint, mid-range, three-pointer, so you know where these guys shoot from. We have the frequency up here too. As a team, where do they shoot from both offensively, and then where do they allow shots from defensively? We have the quality of those shots from a field goal perspective. I know it's a lot and it's all in your face, but everything you need to at least be on your way on a daily basis to start your research process is in here. All the way down to isolation defense, pick and roll defense and offense, catch and shoot and pull-up jumper. We have defense versus position as well. A lot of cool stuff, guys. Check it out. Again, it is free today. GuyBostonSports.com. Head to the members area, NBA dashboard. It can fit any screen because we have this scroller now, right? You get each and every game broken out in a visual format each and every day. Last day to check it out for free to see if it is something that you're interested in. Go ahead and check it out. I build these myself, so obviously I'm going to sit there and say I trust it and I back it, because everything that I like to look at, 99% of it, boom, I put it in the dashboard, right? Obviously, situationally and minutes projections and stuff like that, you're going to want to take a step further. So I'd never say this is an end-all, be-all. The more tools, the better. I'll always believe that. But this is an amazing starting point to get you on your way, whether you're coming home late from work and you're like, all right, I got to figure out something, right? Boom, let's look for the green and the red, the color coding. Or if you're waking up early and you're like, let's get something in really quickly, we don't have that much time. I do think that this is a massive, massive efficiency booster to anyone's process. GuyBostonSports.com. Blazers taking on the Nuggets. Now, y'all, that does not come up every day. You guys may have to help me out in the comments here, because I'm not exactly understanding why this spread is only at 4.5. I know the total's way, way up there, so I guess we're anticipating this Blazers team scoring, which makes sense, right? They dropped 122 and 136 in their last couple games. They also scored 139 earlier this year on the Warriors. But this Nuggets squad, I do think, one, is a decent enough defense. And two, in terms of pace, they'll definitely slow things down if they want to. Like, first few games of the year, they were cruising. Now they're down to, 22nd in the league or something. I'm very confused, and I don't see any injury designation with Jokic. You guys got to help me out in the comments. What am I missing here? Because right now I'm leaning Nuggets. I'm not seeing much that would, send me in any other direction. You have Denver, who, yes, they are allowing a 73.1% field goal percentage to their opponents at the rim in the restricted area this year. That's where Portland likes to score from, but Denver's been really good at preventing the above the break threes, and Portland takes a bunch of those as well. So if you're going to score, try and score at the rim, I think that Denver will be able to adjust and adapt, right? So yeah, I like Denver in this spot, but what the hell am I missing? I mean, Jamal Murray and Cam Johnson, 2 starters, are listed as questionable. If they don't play, then maybe this line makes a little bit of sense, but I would assume this line is almost based on like a Jokic not playing. So what am I missing here? I'm going to lean Denver as well as the under. I think that Denver controls it and slows the game down, but man, oh man, kind of scratching my head on this one. All right, we got the Suns taking on the Jazz. This Suns team has definitely not looked all that great, right? 1-4, and honestly, you look at the strength of schedule, and it's like they have played some good teams, but they've also taken some bad L's, like to Memphis or Utah. They started off the year with a win against Sacramento, and then it goes L, 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 and the defense has been really, really bad. And I think that's just what Utah wants. As a 2-2 team, when they play a team that's not going to play much defense, it'll be close. I mean, even look at Portland, right? Utah only loses by 2 points in that game, and they end up covering. So I like the idea of the Jazz here. I don't really see how you stop, Larry Markkinen, whether it's, Larry Markkinen or Keontae George is like the big scorer today. And I also don't see how you really stop Walker Kessler down low. So I like the idea of this Jazz squad. I'm going to lean towards them in this spot, probably just on the money line. This total is a little too high for me. I know that both these teams, from a defensive efficiency perspective and all that, they don't always, come through, and we just talked about some high-scoring games. But I still don't think that this is like how do I say this? I don't think that these are the best offenses from an efficiency standpoint. Maybe the Jazz, but I still struggle, especially with no Jalen Green, struggle to see where the Suns consistently score. Now, Mark Williams obviously getting healthier and healthier. He is a beast. Let's not forget that. But I think that Walker Kessler is such a big body. And in fact, if Filipowski's out there playing as well, this is a pretty small Suns team going up against what I'd say is a pretty big Jazz team. So I like the idea of that. Walker Kessler over PRA is also something that I'm looking at. And again, that's kind of tied to the under. If I thought this was a run and gun type game, I could see, even though Walker Kessler is really, really good and he cashed for his last time out, I could see him kind of being outpaced in this game and maybe coming out and the Jazz going to a little bit more of a small lineup. But I think the Jazz control this one, and we do see a lot more half-court offense than we might originally think. So I like the idea of the Jazz, the under, and then, like I said, Walker Kessler points, rebounds, and assists. Don't sleep on those Walker Kessler assists. I'm telling you, do not. Clippers taking on the Pelicans to close us out. If you guys made it this far in the video, go ahead and comment 22. You made it past the 22-minute mark, and I really do appreciate it. 2 fairly healthy teams, obviously, if we exclude the idea of DeJounte Murray being out for the year here. And actually, is it out for the year? I think he's actually due back in January, right? So I guess not technically out for the year. But Kevin Looney is doubtful in this one. But on the other side of things, you have Harden, Beal, Kawhi Leonard, Derek Jones, and Ivica Zubac. I do think that this is a Clipper spot. Minus 11.5 is a pretty damn big number, but you have a Pelicans team that really does struggle at preventing points in the paint. I think the Clippers are going to do some damage down there today. So I like the idea of Zubac, by the way, scoring in the paint. You can get him over 14.5, not over 40 unless you want to ladder that bad boy up. Over 14.5 for minus 142 on DK right now. That line everywhere else is in the minus 150s, which I still don't even mind it, but I'd probably go 15.5 if you can't get it at that 142 number. But ultimately, I do think this is a decent enough spot for him and for James Harden to be able to come off the pick and roll and do some damage as well from an assist perspective. So those kind of correlate, and I think that everything that I like here correlates. James Harden's assists with Zubac. I think that we could see obviously some, assist where he passes it to Zubac, and James Harden did not look all that tremendous. In 32 minutes, he had one assist on 10 potential assists last game. Yeah, I think he does a little bit better here. Last 2 times he played this Pelican squad, 17 assists and 10 assists. So maybe there's some same game parlay potential there as well, where we knock this down to like 6 assists and Zubac, 12 plus, something like that, right? I like both those spots. So give me the Clippers. 11.5 is a lot of points, but I do believe that they can actually do some damage. Maybe they're a parlay piece as well. Who knows? But Zubac is probably my favorite look in this one. And then from a total perspective, 224.5. If we look at the way these two teams have played so far, there have been some up-tempo games on both of their, schedules. I think about that Memphis game with the Pelicans, but there's also been some severely down-paced offensive games, like the last couple games here for the Pelicans. Then on the Clippers side of things, yeah, like they allowed 129 to Utah, but the defense has been pretty sound since then. So I like the idea of an under 224.5 and or a Pelicans team total under, because again, I do think the Clippers can score in the paint at a pretty damn good rate today, so I'd hate to see them kind of make the under go bust by them scoring a bunch, you know what I mean? But guys, it's going to wrap it up for today's show. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.